बड़ा नाम से हाँ हाँ मैडम मैडम बताइए सर बता दें मैडम ट्राइबल सब्जेक्ट ଆପଣ ଏଜୁକେସନ ବ୍ୟାକଗ୍ରାଉଣ୍ଡ ପଚାରିବେ ସब्ଜେକ୍ଟ ଆପଣ ଏଜୁକେସନ ତ କମର୍ସ ଛଡା मैडम 4 ରୁ 6ଟା ଭିତରେ ସରିଯିବ ଆଜ୍ଞା 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 Good morning. Let's start the daily current affairs discussion. To start with, the first topic is India-Australia relations, strategic and trade ties, the China factor. After a visit to the cricket stadium in Ahmedabad with the Prime Minister Narendra Modi recently, the Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese tweeted about the fierce but friendly sporting rivalry between the two nations. Albanese, the first leader of his country to make a bilateral visit to India since Malcolm Turnbull in 2017. The in-person India-Australia Annual Summit will be held on 10th of March, means started yesterday. Fine. In the historical perspective of the relationship, India-Australia bilateral relationship has been underpinned by the shared value of pluralistic Westminster-style democracy. Means Australia and India, they all adopt the England Westminster style of democracy. Commonwealth traditions because both are a member of Commonwealth, expand economic engagement and increasing high-level interaction. These are the commonality between the two sides. Several common traits, including strong, vibrant, secular, and multicultural democracies, a free press, an independent judicial system, and English language. Okay, so the India-Australia bilateral relationship has been underpinned. Okay, has been underpinned by the shared value pluralistic Westminster type of democracy, Commonwealth traditions, expanding economic engagement. Okay, So, several common traits, including strong, vibrant, secular, and multicultural democracies, a free pace, an independent judicial system, and English language, serve as the foundation for closer cooperation and multifaceted interaction between the two countries. Fine. So, the end of the Cold War and began the India economic reforms in 1991 provided the impetus for the development of closer ties between the two nations. Fine. So, okay, so the end of Cold War and beginning of Indian economic reforms in 1991 provided the impetus for the development of closer ties between the two nations. The ever increasing number of Indian students traveling to Australia for higher education and the growing tourism and sporting links have played a significant role in strengthening bilateral relations. With the passage of time, ties evolved in the direction of a strategic relationship alongside the existing economic engagement in recent years. The relationship has charted a new trajectory of transformational growth with greater convergence of views on issues such as international terrorism and a shared commitment to a rule-based order in the Indo-Pacific region. The two democracies have taken their cooperation to multilateral format. See, not bilateral, multilateral, but multilateral format, including the Quad, both are members. So where Australia is a member along with US, United States, Japan, and India. So this is called the multilateral relationship. Fine. Strategic ties in September 2014, Australia's Prime Minister Tony Abbott visited India, and in November 2014, Modi became the first Indian Prime Minister. Okay, okay. The India Australia Leaders Virtual Summit in June 2020. Okay. So, Prime Minister Scott Morrison elevated the bilateral relationship from the strategic partnership concluded in 2009 to comprehensive strategic partnership. Hello. ଦୁଇଟା ଚାରିଟା ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ସେୟାର କରିଦେଇଛି। ନାଇଁ ନାଇଁ ମୋର ବା ମୋର ଏପଟକୁ ବା ଚାରିଟା ଛଅଟା ଇଣ୍ଟରଭ୍ୟୁ ଅଛି ମୋର ଇଣ୍ଟରଭ୍ୟୁ ଅଛି ସେଇଟା ଯଦି ହବ ତାହେଲେ କ୍ୟାନସଲ କରିଦେବେ। କାହାର ତମର ଏକଲା ଅସୁବିଧା ନା ଗ୍ରୁପରେ ମେମ୍ବର ଅସୁବିଧା? ଭିଷ୍ଟିଜ୍ ଅଛି କେତେବେଳେ ଅଛି? ଦେଖ ସମସ୍ତେ ଭିଷ୍ଟି ଦିଅ ହେଲା, ଜୋଗ୍ରାଫି ଭିଷ୍ଟି ଅଛି, ତାହେଲେ ସମସ୍ତେ ଭିଷ୍ଟି ଦିଅ, ଆଜି କ୍ଲାସ୍ କ୍ୟାନ୍ସଲ୍ କରିଦେବା ହେଲା, ମୁଁ କହିଦେଉଛି ହଁ sure, ଅମିତା ଆଜି ହିଷ୍ଟ୍ରି ଅଛି ପ୍ଲସ୍ କ୍ଲାସ୍ ଅଛି ହେଲାଣି। So Modi and Marison spoke by phone on those occasions, on three occasions in 2021, and met in person in Washington, DC, and at the COP26 Climate Summit at Glasgow in Scotland, at the second India-Australia Virtual Summit. Okay. Okay. So Prime Minister Modi and Albanese met thrice last year. There has been a series of high-level engagement and exchange of minister visits in 2020 and 2023. The National Affairs Minister traveled to Australia on February 18th and his Australian counterpart Penny Wong visited from February 28th to March 3rd. Australia's Education Minister Jacques Clare also visited India. So this highlighted that both the countries are in regular contact with each other. There is high-level bilateral visit and so they meet at regular interval, and their domain of interaction is much wider. Okay, trade, education, security, environment, and lot many domains are covered by their bilateral cooperation. Fine. Ties between Australia and China were strained after Canberra in 2018 banned Chinese telecom firm OAE from the 5G network. Later it called for an inquiry into the origin of the COVID-19 and slammed China's human rights record in Jiang and Hong Kong. China responded by imposing trade barriers on Australian exports and by cutting off all ministerial costs. Okay, so that strained the relationship between Australia and China. India has been facing an aggressive Chinese military outlook along the border. India and Australia have been assessing the Chinese challenge in 2013 and both became the member of Quad with that expectation that Quad will be able to find solution to their emerging challenges from China because their cooperation with anti-Chinese countries like Japan and like USA, okay, who are not in favor of expanding Chinese hegemony, if that brings them closer, it will be beneficial to both the sides. In a speech at the Center for Policy Research in 2022, former Australian envoy Peter Verghese said China's abandonment of hide and wide, its ambition to become the predominant power in the Indo-Pacific is not beyond its use of economic coercion and its desire to recreate the Middle Kingdom where harmony was hierarchy with China at the top. All of these leading other countries to balance and constrain China. And India is seen as an important element in this strategy. That means in this continent to counter China, most of the countries who are not in favor of Chinese hegemony are rallying behind India because they realize that India can be the only solution. Okay, so to counter Chinese hegemony, okay, that is why. So they want that in cooperation with China, they will be able to control. Okay, so control the Chinese hegemony in cooperation of Australia, Japan, India, and other like-minded democratic country who love democracy called the alliance. So if she Quad is called an alliance of democracy because so it is against the Chinese hegemony, but they cannot openly say that okay it is Chinese hegemony. So they are saying that this is an alliance against democracy or alliance for democracy against hegemony. Fine. Okay. This is where so the issue of cooperation with Australia to counter China. Okay, each being strengthened further between India and Australia. Fine. He also added both Australia and India support a rule-based international order and that they are partners in seeking to forge regional institutions in the Indo-Pacific which are inclusive, promote further economic integration and can help to manage the tension as economic growth across the region shift strategic weight and relatives uh, relativities. The country's participation in Quad is an example of their convergence of interest based on shared concerns. Wide cooperation, economic cooperation trade agreement, the first free trade agreement signed by India with a developed country in a decade, entered into force in December 2022 and has resulted in an immediate reduction on duty to zero on 96% Indian export to Australia in value and zero duty on 85% of Australia's export in value to India. Bilateral trade was around 27.5 billion in 2021. With the ETCA, there is potential for it to reach around USD 50 billion in 27.5 billion. Target is right now being set at $50 billion. Okay, so that in the next 5 years. Okay, so in 2021, it was around 27.5 billion bilateral trade volume, and that both the countries have targeted to increase it to around $50 billion by the next 5 years. Right? People to people ties. India is one of the top source of skilled immigration to Australia. As per the 2021 census, around 9.76 lakh people in Australia are reported their ancestry as Indian origin, making them the second largest group of overseas one resident in Australia. Okay. To celebrate India at 75 years, the Australian government illuminated more than 40 buildings across the country, and Prime Minister Albanese issued a personal video message. Defense cooperation. The 2 plus 2 Minister dialogue was held in September 2021 and the Deputy Prime Minister and Defence Minister of Australia visited in June 2022. The Mutual Logistics Support Agreement MLSA was concluded during the virtual summit in June 2020 and the two militaries held several joint exercises in 2022. Australia will host military cooperation with India, Japan and the US in the Malabar exercise of the coast of Perth in Australia in August and has invited India to join the Talisman Sabre exercise later this year to be conducted by Australia. Albanese visited INS Vikrant during his visit and declared there have never been a point in both of our countries' histories where we have had such a strong strategic alignment as it is at present. That means at present both the countries have strong strategic alliance and this is a stepping stone towards promoting future relation between the two sides. Then clean energy. The country signed a letter of intent on new and renewable energy in February 2022, which provides for cooperation towards bringing down the cost of renewable energy technology, especially ultra low cost solar and clean hydrogen. During the virtual summit in March 2022, India announced matching fund of Australian 10 million for Pacific Island countries under infrastructure for resilient island states, and another 10 million for Australian dollar. Okay, for Pacific Island countries under the International Solar Alliance, which is being promoted by India. Okay, the mechanism for mutual recognition of educational qualifications was signed on March 2nd, 2023. This will facilitate the mobility of students between India and Australia. Uh, Deakin University and University of Ulgang are planning to open campus in India. More than 1 lakh students are pursuing higher education degree in Australia universities, making Indian students the second largest cohort of foreign students in Australia. Fine, that is what. Indian educational degree to be recognized in Australia. What this mean? See, so government of both the sides agreed that they recognize the degree of that Indian degree will be recognized by Australian government in Australia, and vice versa. Australian degree will be recognized in India. Okay, what it implies? Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese recently announced an Australian Indian education qualification recognition mechanism. He also announced that Gelang's Deakin University will be the first overseas university to open its branches campus in India, apart from a new Maitri scholarship for Indian students to study in Australia for up to 4 years. But exactly the Australian India education qualification recognition mechanism, the new mechanism will mean that degree obtained in Australia will now be recognized in India and vice versa. That means degree obtained in India will be recognized in Australia, and degree obtained in Australia will be recognized in India. Okay, so this new mechanism means that if an Indian student studying or have studied in Australia, the person had a degree will be recognized where he or she returns India, and Indian qualification will be recognized in Australia and vice versa. That means the degree given by the respective educational institutions will be accepted, recognized in the other side. That's a good development. Fine. Then this new mechanism was finalized by Australian Education Minister Johnson Clare and Indian Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan during the farmers visit to Delhi recently. India has other agreement with countries like the US. What makes this broader than the agreement with the US is it includes online course also. Apart from courses that Australian University can run in India or at standalone campus like the one that University of Ulgong is setting up. This agreement is expected to make it easier for Indian to go to Australia for both education and work, and vice versa. That means, so the degree once they recognize, so the Indian students can go to Australia and access the job market. Fine. However, this move will not apply to professional qualification. Just yet, professional registration of engineering, medicine, and law graduate will remain outside the ambit of the agreement. Only the other, so engineering, medical, and law graduates. So, the professional degree they will not be recognized, but other degrees will be recognized by both the sides, and students can access the job market based on the qualification done in the other country. The Australian Premier also confirmed that Gelang's Deakin University will be the first ever foreign university to have an offshore campus in India, to be set up in Gandhinagar, Gift City in Gujarat. Operations in the Deakin University's new offshore campus may start soon as the next year. Students being admitted to some postgraduate courses. The campus is set to offer courses in cybersecurity and business analytics, so which are very new and unique to India, because these courses are not open in India generally. They are the foreign degrees given in foreign university, and this university is going to open such new domain courses in India in the offshore campus established in Gandhinagar, Gujarat. Two Australian University ranked among the top 300 have reached out to the Indian government to set up independent offshore campus in India. The other university reportedly interested to setting up an Indian campus is the University of Ulgang. Okay, India student can obtain Australian education without being in Australia. The branch campus aim to provide world-class postgraduate education to meet the industry skill workforce demand with the country. Multiple governments since 1990s have unsuccessfully attempted to allow the entry of foreign university in India. This is now finally set up to change with the entry of decking and the prospective entry of TOW. In last year's budget, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has announced that world-class foreign university and institutions should be allowed in the newly set up GIFT City to offer courses in financial management, fintech, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, free from domestic regulations. First conceptualized as far back in 2007, the GIFT City is spread over 887 acres in Gandhinagar and comprises a multi-several special economic zone. It houses India's first international financial service center and exclusive domestic tariff area. Okay, which are very unique and new to India. Okay, but in the new Maitri scholarship, a new scholarship was also announced for Indian students studying in Australia. The Maitri scholarship will provide financial assistance to Indian students in Australia as for as long as 4 years. The scholarship are part of the wider Maitri program that seek to boost cultural, educational, and community ties between Australia and India. The Maitri scholarship was first mentioned in a joint media statement by Australian Minister in February 14, 2022. The statement has said the 11.2 billion monthly scholarship program will act. Okay, so we will attract and support high achieving Indian students to study at Australian University. It will showcase India's global renowned academic and research institutions, particularly in science and technology, engineering and mathematics. STEM, which is being focused by the government even at present. Okay, because government of India is focusing on the STEM education, science, technology, engineering and mathematics. Because they are the core area development which the most important requirement right now, and that is what. So both the countries, India and Australia, are trying for this. Maitri scholarship was first mentioned in joint India statement by Australian Minister on February 14, 2022. The statement has said that 11.2 million Maitri scholarship program will attract and support high achieving Indian students to study in Australia universities. It will showcase Australia's globally renowned academics and research institutions, particularly in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, which is right now being promoted by Government of India in the broad slogan of facilitating STEM, S-T-E and M, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Fine. The Government of India is focusing on the STEM, so this scope of this is right there. Fine. So this will provide the scope for, okay, that is the reason why this relationship will further strengthen and will be stronger and will be more beneficial. Okay, okay. Then the next topic is an interesting topic in space, the Nishar satellite. The Indian Space Organization ISRO recently received the NASA ISRO synthetic aperture radar satellite from the US Space Agency in Bangalore. It was fabricated by NASA in USA and sent to India by a special aircraft. NASA and ISRO are jointly working on all weather Earth observing. Okay, okay, so Earth observing mission scheduled for launch in 2024. NISA is the first satellite mission that will collect radar data in two micro bandwidth large ranges, L band and also the S band. Okay, commonly used for satellite communication and weather monitoring. SAR is a type of remote sensing technology or S band. Okay, okay, a type of remote sensing technology that uses radars instead of optical sensor to create high resolution image of the Earth's surface. It can penetrate cloud and vegetation to generate accurate data. Fine, that is called the, that will be part of this NISHAR mission. Fine. So NISHAR is the first satellite mission that will collect radar data in two micro bandwidth. SAR is a type of remote sensing technology that uses radars instead of the optical sensor to create high resolution image of the Earth's surface. It can penetrate cloud and vegetation to generate accurate data. Fine. So NISAR will image the entire land and ice masses of the Earth 4 or 6 times a month. The output is expected to be available within a couple of days of the observation and within hours in case of disasters. Why it matters? NASA and ISRO plan to accomplish the following through NISAR satellite. Okay, so what they want? Okay, so disaster mapping, a collection of pre-disaster image will be used to better understand disasters and inform official policy on the best courses of action in future. Satellite observation will also be uninterrupted by the weather, thus providing quick and reliable information for rescue operation and loss estimate, because this being a satellite information, so very so that means 0% of losses of information. Changes in the permafrost, in the permanent frost of the ice sheets NISAR will be programmed to observe global changes in the permafrost at regular interval, updating scientists about the degradation of the glaciers, with implications for global weather resources, water resources, aquatic ecosystem, and the coastal water level. Because so having a control over the permafrost, it will be able to update, okay, about the available water and the water status around the world. This will definitely help in giving informations about the water on which we are going to fight for the next period. Forest provide timber, fuel, and variety of products, act as carbon sink, sequestering excess carbon in the atmosphere, purify air and water resources, and are habitats for multiple plants and animal species. NISHAR will monitor global forest resources, their extent and quantity, and provide information for their sustainable development and management. Agriculture and food security. This SAR image of the crop rotation, growth, and harvest can be used to streamline plant agricultural output and monitor the health of the crop. So, this diversified use of this NISAR satellite will be used by both the countries, and it will be more useful for India than any other country. And with American support, India is going to get the most accurate information which it will use for its diverse purposes and to its own benefit. Fine. So then the multi-angle image for aerosol missions. Okay. So NASA announced that it is partnering with the Italian Space Agency (SAI) to build and launch the MAIA, or the multi-angle image for aerosols missions. What is this MAIA? A mission, excuse me, this is an effort to investigate the health impact of tiny airborne particles polluting some of the world's most populous cities, the called the aerosols. The satellite mission will aim to understand the effect of different types of particles pollution on human health. Set to launch before the end of 2024, this MAIA observatory will consist of a satellite known as the Platino 2, provided by the Australia, that space agency of Italian space agency. Okay, so this will provide the Italian space agency. Okay, and a science instrument built at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Southern California. The mission will collect and analyze data from the observatory, both sensors on the ground and atmospheric models. Fine. The science instrument on MAIA will have a pointable spectropolarimetric camera which capture digital images at multiple angles in the ultraviolet, visible, near infrared, and short wave infrared portion of the electromagnetic spectrum. MAIA will be able to collect measurements of sunlight reflecting of airborne particles, which will help researchers determine the abundance, size, and optical property of certain pollutants in the Earth atmosphere. According to NASA, this data will help the MAIA science team explore the geographic distribution of airborne particles and also investigate how they relate to the pattern and prevalence of health problems stemming from poor air quality, because the poor air quality is a big factor in degrading health standard of many people. Fine. So that is why. Okay, so about 99.82% of global land area is exposed to levels of particulate matter (SPM), teeny particles in the air that scientists have linked to lung cancer and heart diseases above the safety limit recommended by the World Health Organization, and only 0.01% of the world's population breathes in air that is considered acceptable according to the peer-reviewed study published in Lancet Planetary Health. Breathing airborne pollutants particles have been associated with many health problems, but the toxicity of different particles mixtures have been less well understood. MAIA will help us understand how airborne particles pollution puts our health at risk and potentially provide insight that will inform the decisions of public health officials and other policy makers. Fine. Then the next topic is the Digital India Act 2023. The Union government recently outlined the Digital India Act 2023, which is a broad overhaul of the Information Technology Act 2000. Minister of Science, State of Electronics and Information Technology, Rajiv Chandrasekhar, announced the changes in the presentation in Bengaluru. The government is reconsidering a key aspect of the cyberspace called the safe harbor. Safe harbor is the principle that so-called intermediaries on the internet are not responsible for what third party post on their website. This is the principle that allows social media platform to avoid liability for posts made by users. Safe harbor has been reigned in recent years by regulations like the Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code Rules 2021. It requires platform to take down posts when ordered to do so by the government or when required by law of the country where they operate. Fine. Fundamental speech right cannot be violated by any platform, but there is certainly a case that can be made that openization of disinformation is not the same as free speech, and that need to be addressed. This is the declaration by the Minister of States Rajiv Chandrasekhar. Okay. What is this Digital India Act 2023? The Act is new legislation that aims to overhaul the decade-old Information Technology Act 2000. The Act covers a range of topics such as artificial intelligence, cybercrime, data protection, deepfakes, competition issues among internet platforms, and online safety. The Act also aims to address new complex forms of user harms that have emerged in the years since the IT Act's enactment, such as catfishing, doxing, trolling, and phishing. What was the Act enacted? Why the Act was enacted? The Digital India Act will be implemented alongside the Digital Personal Data Protection Bill 2022, which focuses solely on processing personal data in India. Lawful use of the data. It seeks to address the processing of digital personal data in a manner that recognizes both the right of the individual to protect their personal data and the need to possess personal data for lawful purposes. Comprehensive regulations. This Act and the Digital Personal Data Protection Bill will work in tandem with each other, so in cooperation with each other. Key features of the Digital India Act: creating new regulations around newer technology, including 5G, information of that Internet of Things devices, cloud computing, metaverse, blockchain, and cryptocurrency. Reclassifying online intermediaries to separate categories instead of one general intermediary label, each one with its own set of regulations. Removing safe harbor immunity for online intermediaries for purposeful misinformation or other content violations from third parties. Creating digital standards and law regarding artificial intelligence and machine learning technology. Criminalizing cyberbullying, identity threat, and unauthorized sharing of personal information without consent. These are the things to be covered. Fine. Then coming to the question discussion of the day. Okay. So discuss the challenges faced by women in accessing digital technology. Also suggest certain measures that can be taken to bridge the gender digital divide. Digital technology hold immense potential to improve people's economic and social outcome. Yet challenges remain regarding women's access to and use of this technology. The International Telecommunication Union reports that more than 50% of the world's women are offline. The term gender digital divide is frequently used to refer to those types of gender differences in resources and capabilities to access and effectively utilize ICT, information and communication technology, within and between countries, regions, sectors, and socio-economic groups. Challenges faced by women in accessing digital technology: access and affordability. Affordability is a challenge for all, but affects disproportionately more women and girls and remain one of the key hurdles in accessing ICT. The digital gender divide is found to increase technological sophistication and functionally grow and with the cost of ownership. India accounts for half of the world's gender digital divide, given that only a third of all internet users in the country are women. Right? Only third. Lack of education, illiteracy further hinders women's ability to access online services. The digital gender divide is also fueled by digital illiteracy, which often translates to lack of comfort in using technology and accessing the internet. Socio-cultural regions in India, around one-fifth of women were found to believe that the internet was not appropriate for them. For a number of cultural regions, further around 12% women in India report not to use the internet because of the negative social perception associated with it use in the rural area. So why you are watching the internet? Safety related issue. This is a key reason for families opposition to the use of internet or the ownership of a mobile phone or both women and girls in developing and emerging economies. Using the internet can expose women to risks such as cyber stalking, online harassment, or even sexual trafficking. Market related factors. The ability of women to access and use digital technologies like is directly and indirectly affected by market related factors, including investment dynamics, regulations, and competition. In rural area, the investment and installations of information infrastructure such as a broadband and cell phone towers is less economically profitable. This can affect disproportionately more women as many of them are located in rural area where the the mobile towers and internet facility are not that widely available. Fine. Then measure that can be taken to bridge gender digital divide are building digital literacy. Digital skill training should be included in formal school curriculum from primary level to so girls are reached at an early age and can build skill over time. Education policy should support girls study STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, subject in inclusive and gender neutral environment. Okay, which is right now being focused by the government. Infrastructure development, promotion of indigenous information, promotion of indigenous information and communication technology under Atmanirbhar Bharat. Okay, can play an important role for promoting market competition between internet service providers, migrating to new technologies such as the Internet of Things. Development of 5G and big data can also help in bridging gender digital divide. Right? Okay, building an evidence base, more research and data is needed in order to design, program, and initiative that effectively work to close the gender digital divide for women. Fine, that is what are the uh, issue if they are taken properly. So this. Okay, so building an evidence base, more research and data is needed in order to design programs and initiatives that effectively work to close the gender digital divide for women. Fine. Expanding accessibility, government must work with private sector partners to expand broadband coverage in underserved areas. Addressing bias and stereotypes, focus should be on addressing the many conscious and unconscious bias and stereotypes which often constrain women participation in digital environment. Ensuring cybersecurity, such policy are needed with which guarantee privacy as well as security in the cyberspace. This will in turn contribute to increase women's trust in digital means. Okay, so increasing women's digital adaptation will enable them to access more digital opportunity. be it in education, employment, or civic participation. Women 20 G20 official platform to promote gender equality identifies bridging the gender digital divide as one of the priorities that need to be mainstream as part of the G20 agenda this year. A favorable policy. Okay. Increasing women's digital participation will enable them to access more digital opportunity, be it in the education, employment, or civic participation. Women 20, the G20's official platform to promote gender equality, identifies bridging the gender digital divide as one of its priority that need to be mainstream as part of the G20 agenda this year. And favorable policy environment to promote the digital empowerment of women will be a step in the right direction. Fine. So, coming to the MCQs of the day. Okay, so in the context of the India-Australia trade relation, consider the following statement. India and Australia signed a free trade agreement called for economic cooperation and trade agreement in 2022. Okay, this is not correct. The above trade agreement has resulted in the immediate reduction of duty on 0 to 96% of the Indian export to Australia and value 0 due to 8% Australia's export to India. So only 2 is correct, but the year is wrong. Fine. So, Maitri scholarship is with Australia, India and Australia. Okay. The following state recently set record on most essay to a person, that is 42.4 lakh handwritten notes on Lancet. Bakpun is recognized as the world's largest online photo album in the world. So this the country is Assam. The state is Assam in India. Fine. Which of the following is wrong with respect to Nijar mission? Nijar mission will be programmed to observe global permafrost at regular interval. It is right. The mission is partnership with UNESCO. No, it is NASA and ISRO. So 2 is wrong. B is wrong. Then 5 with response to multi-angle image and aerosol mission MAIA. So by NASA and Italy, joint between NASA and Italy. Okay. So the MAI observatory consists of the Platinum 2 satellite, which will be provided by NASA, and the science instrument that will be built by SI. So the reverse. Italy is one of the primary target. No. So 2 and 3 are wrong. So only one is correct. So answer will be 2 and 3. So C is the right answer. First edition of Women Icon Leading Swachhata Award 2023 recently launched by which of the following ministry? It is launched by Minister of Housing and Urban Affairs. So Government of India. Then with reference to Digital India Act 2023, consider the following. The Digital India Act will implemented alongside the Digital Personal Data Protection Bill 2022, which focuses solely on processing personal data in India. The Act will also encourage the adoption of digital technology in various sectors such as healthcare, education, and agriculture, leading to increased efficiency and productivity. So, question number 7. So both 1 and 2 are correct. Okay. Then coming to 8, with reference to scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, Prevention Atrocity Act 1989, the law listed down the forms of cruelty which was inflicted upon lower caste people. All offences listed in the act are cognizable. Okay, and the minimum in most cases is minimum punishment is 6 months imprisonment, and the maximum is 5 years sentence and with a fine. So all the three are correct. Fine. And then Kallad Mundaturi Tiger Reserve. It is in Kerala, Tamil Nadu area. Okay, C. Then with reference to Golden City Get Tourism Multimedia Award, consider the following statement. This award are given annual in various categories to the tourism and hospitality sector, is right. Okay. The Golden City Gate is a creative multimedia and international competition for cities only, no. So all over, not only cities. This way, your today's discussion, questions and the MCQ are over. Keep on watching regularly to update yourself on the development.